All right, Virgo, this is such a huge contradiction between both of them. Now, there's a couple of different ways that I feel about this. So from Lay Vampire, enlightenment, inspiration, epiphany, and innovation, but confusion from chakra wisdom. Now, when you're looking at enlightenment, it's talking about a breakthrough in the way that you have been thinking about difficult situations, needing to rethink what is going on here. But it's also, that aha moment, right? It's like the Ace of Swords. Now, the curse, though, and I say that because of confusion, may be that you are stuck on a way of thinking or trying to solve old problems in the same way, right? Needing to break habitual patterns of dealing with things by opening up your awareness and understanding and having that breakthrough in the way that you're thinking. Now, the problem, though, is with confusion. Now, confusion is saying that there is more information needed. So it may be that, you get a stroke of inspiration when it comes to what you've been dealing with, but you may not have the facts to actually support it. So there may be like this feeling of not understanding where these thoughts are coming from. But then, the enlightenment or the epiphany there for some of you may be that you just need to be in that confused state and trust that it will lead you eventually to clarity. All right, Virgo. Here's your overall for the week. The Queen of Wands. I feel good about her being the overall. Now, like I said, when it comes to core cards, you may be feeling this way because of a person that is around you. For some of you, you may be feeling like really excited about something that's happening to you or happening around you. I also see self-image with her. So I feel like, whatever is happening, it's making you feel good about you, right? Because she's enthusiastic. She's fun to be around. She's super exciting, super passionate, right? You may be finding a new passion for a person or something going on. But I feel good about her. Now, in the past, judgment. This is basically you needing to review things and, get control over it. With the Queen of Wands, right? She knows how to manage shit. She knows how to manage what is going on in her life. With judgment, it's you needing to review something that has happened in the past and lay it to rest. That is what I feel like. I don't think that this is about something that's being brought back up or being resurrected. This is something that you have laid to rest now. You're good with who you are, where you are. You feel good about life. It feels good to me. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. So it's almost like once you let go of, the way that you may have seen yourself before, it opens the door for, these new things coming through. Now, with the Page of Cups being in the present moment, we could definitely be talking about somebody communicating something to you. Right? It's new emotions, feeling something new, or something being offered to you here, but I feel more so it's the communication of emotions. But I feel like this is happening to you, not you communicating this. It's coming toward you now once you let go of, the past and the way that you may have seen your past or seen yourself in the past. Okay, so now future conditions, and the way that I'm looking at this and the way it's breaking down for me, especially with what's coming through, I see this as you breaking this pattern, breaking this pattern of how you see yourself, with the Queen of Wands being the overall, judgment, reviewing yourself, taking a good look at yourself, right? But laying some things to rest here in order to open up to these new feelings, something new coming through, something being communicated to you. With the Knight of Pentacles, it's just slow and steady, which makes me think that there may be a little bit of, what you had to review in the past still coming through. Something new is definitely happening for you here, something new being offered, feeling something new. It's just with the Knight of Pentacles, right? You got to take it slow and steady. I don't feel like it's about procrastination or somebody dragging their ass here. I feel like, eventually you're going to get to your goal. It just is going to take some time. The Knight of Pentacles is really methodical in the way that he does things. Now, if we're talking about you needing to have a breakthrough in the way that you've been thinking, then yeah, you can't you can't be stubborn, you know. But I don't know. I see this as a new situation that's progressing slowly. But the only reason why this is coming through is because, you know, the past has been laid to rest now. Your best path to follow, the Five of Wands. Don't fight yourself. I mean, with the Queen of Wands being there, you know, I look at that as the internal battle, right? I mean, absolutely, if there's something new coming through, especially if it's about work, you know, with the Knight of Pentacles being there, don't ever fear competition, you know. And don't allow yourself to be quiet or to be dulled down because of a fear of not being heard. You know, because I kind of get that too with the Queen of Wands. Like, don't dull yourself down, right? Like, if you're feeling good, you know, and you think life is great right now and you're having a good time, be all about it. You know, don't hold yourself back. You know, and don't worry about what other people think, right? In your environment, the Page of Pentacles, you know, I look at this as, and I've been saying this a lot with the Page of Pentacles, I feel like starting over here. You know, now, for some of you, absolutely, it's feeling good about a new offer here. It could be about, you know, a new job, going back to school, learning something new, wanting to apply it. But, you know, starting over here and feeling good about who you are. You know, it's almost like starting your life over and, you know, feeling better about the direction that you're heading now, you know, albeit slow. Right? But whatever it is that's coming through to you right now is a good thing, you know. It's going to take a lot of hard work, though, a lot of hard work to get to where you want to be. But don't ever let, you know, competition or other people, like, stop you from, you know, being the top chick, right? Or the top male, you know. It doesn't matter. You know, it could definitely be because of a person around you, though. But I look at her as the overall, and I feel like a lot of you are feeling better about who you are, which is really good. Really, really good. Yeah, so your hopes and your fears, the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, so for a lot of you, this will have to do with work situations here. You know, things progressing slowly. A new offer coming through, you feel good about it, you feel like you can handle this, right? For some of you, you're taking on management positions with the Queen of Wands being the overall. With the Three of Pentacles being your hopes and fears, it's about being able to work with others, right? But then also being recognized for the work that you do, right? And hoping that people see your talent, you know, especially with the Queen of Wands being there, right? They see what you're doing. They see what you're working on. You know, they see what you're capable of, and they want to work with you. You know, I see it as a good thing. All of this looks really good. I mean, Judgment is, you know, heavy coming through. But with the Queen of Wands, you know, like I said, with self-image and looking at Judgment, it's about reviewing who you are. What kind of person are you, right? And whatever, you know, misconceptions you have had about yourself, that's done with. You know, it's cleared up now, right? It is what it is. But you are a new person. Oh, yeah. And the Eight of Pentacles coming out. Work, right? But I look at the Eight of Pentacles, and besides, like, busting your ass and putting in a lot of effort, you know, I look at this as somebody who knows what they're doing. Right? You have expertise, right? Which is why you're hoping that people see what you know how to do. You know, showing off your skills here, but then, you know, really being focused on the work that you're doing. I don't see this as a bad thing. And the financial aspect with all of these is fantastic. Fantastic. You know, but it's only because of a new opportunity coming through. But I do think that you're looking at yourself differently. Like, it's almost like you're more capable. You know, you're allowing yourself to feel like you can do this, you know. And then the Ace of Swords. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful reading, Virgo. I love it. You know, especially for those of you who are looking at work situations right now. So now with the Six of Swords, absolutely, it's about, you know, breaking that pattern of, you know, how you have been thinking specifically about yourself. Now, you know, with the Six of Swords, right, moving on to a calmer emotional state, moving on to, you know, better situations here, getting away from the difficulty of the past, you know, past thoughts being swords here, but it's a good thing, right? Now with the Fool, you know, this is going ahead and taking that new path, having faith, right? And it's not blind faith here because, you know, you've reviewed everything that you've been through, especially how you have seen yourself, you know, so you know that by taking a leap into a new offer here, you know, it's going to lead you into a place where you feel good about how much effort you are putting into what is being offered to you here. I feel like this is so good. It's so good. And then the Ace of Swords, right? Truth and clarity and the epiphany, the aha moment. I got it now. I know what I need to do and how much I need to put into this to get to what I want. You know, I love it. I mean, this breaks down to very simply that you're being offered something new here. You're looking at yourself differently. You feel like you're capable. You know, the advice here is not to battle with yourself or tame yourself down here, because if you are loving life, like I said, be all about it, right? Not fearing competition. It is about a new offer coming through. You know, learning here and applying that knowledge and hoping that, you know, you're seen for your talent, and then absolutely, right? And feeling good about what you're doing. I love it. And then new path emerging. Don't resist the change that is leading you to a new path. And that's basically it, you know. And it's still, it to me looks fantastic. You know, I think that coming out of this, you're going to feel good about, you know, how much hard work you're putting into something here. But, you know, don't resist change, right? Like, don't be stubborn. But it's not bad, you know, and whatever resistance that, you know, you've been putting up for yourself here, Judgment is saying it's time to clear all that away. But I feel like a lot of you have done that. And then I love you. These are very important words. Yes, it's in order to attract love, you have to be willing to give love, right? And if you have people in your life that you love, it's important to say, you know what, I love you, man, right? Or with your partner, letting them know that you love them. But be in the present. Your power is in the present moment, but dream of all the possibilities of the future, right? It looks great to me. You know, I think that confusion is going to be clearing up for you. I really think that that's what that is about. But I do think that, you know, you have to get out of habitual ways of thinking when it comes to dealing with difficulties. But I'm not seeing anything difficult happening here at all. I feel like there is definitely a new opportunity coming through here. You know, I think that you are feeling better about who you are, right? Slow and steady here with the Knight of Pentacles. But I feel like you will be recognized for your talents, you know, for the work that you can do. I think that, you know, you may be hoping to be able to work with other people because collaboration does come up with that. And then you are looking at the Five of Wands here, right? You know, you're going to have to step up and manage what is going on around you, manage people. If you are in a management position, sorry, Virgo, I've been losing my voice all week. But I like all of this, you know, and that epiphany and that breakthrough that happens once you take that leap. You know, and really start showing off what you can do. To me, it's just leading to much better things, you know. But again, right, like, don't dull yourself down for anybody. You know, don't worry about what other people think. Do what you got to do. All right, Virgo. So now, beyond a work situation, I do think that this is really about the changes that are happening for you. You know, because I look at this Queen of Wands and I feel like this doesn't have to do with another person. I feel like, you know, it's possible here that another person is responsible for all of this happening. But I look at her as the overall and feel like this is about self-work here in a really big way, especially with Judgment being the past coming through. You know, I think that you're taking a closer look at yourself. And, you know, I think that you're feeling good about, you know, all of the work that you're putting into, you know, making yourself a better person, right? And I still do think, though, I mean, especially in terms of work, don't get caught up in pettiness. Don't get caught up in any of that conflict. Don't get involved, right? Because if you are in a management position, it's going to be about, you know, look, this is the work that has to be done, right? I'm not trying to get caught up in, right? The cackling hen syndrome. I'm not seeing the Three of Cups here, but, you know, with the Five of Wands in a work situation would make sense. Now, beyond that though, like you are feeling something new here about yourself, and it's like starting your life over, you know, because again, going back to the self-work here, this is fantastic, easy peasy reading. You know, there could be many different situations going on here, being a general reading. But what I get more from this is whatever is being offered or whatever is being communicated to you is making you feel good. Right now, slow and steady and a lot of hard work. But, you know, I don't think that it has to do with somebody dragging their ass or procrastination. But I do worry about being, you know, stubborn, right? Because, again, you're looking at needing to break habitual ways of thinking here. But, you know, it's only out of confusion that you get the epiphany. My God, if I could talk right. The aha moment, like I finally get it, right? I've been confused this long. And now I finally understand, you know, it's like this big major breakthrough, especially with the Ace of Swords coming out. You know, but like I said, not getting caught up in conflict anymore. But, you know, once you take a leap of faith on these new feelings here and you start working toward this, you know, with that Page of Pentacles, that Ace of Swords, it's like it becomes your own new personal truth. You know, I love it. I think it's a beautiful reading. I do think that you are hoping that somebody, you know, recognizes the work that you're doing, whether this is self-work or, you know, just in a work situation in general. And again, hoping to be able to work with others, right? But not needing to get caught up in, you know, the nonsense, right? And rising above that, you know, taking control with the Queen of Wands. But all of this looks really good. The only thing that I don't like here is the resistance to change that is leading to the new path that is emerging. You know, don't resist anything. Don't resist shit. What you resist persists. And don't resist change that needs to happen. You know, because all of it is leading into you being a better person or feeling better about who you are, being more excited about things, being more enthusiastic, right? Attracting, you know, the right kind of attention to you, you know, and again, being able to manage people and manage what is going on. Now, as far as whispers of love, your power is in the present moment, right? We hear that all the time. The present moment is where changes happen, when we make the choice in the present moment to do something different. But there is nothing wrong with dreaming about all the possibilities, right? But if we're talking about love here, you know, the possibilities open up when you can communicate to those around you that you love them, right? And when you say I love you, one of the things that I point out with that is you have to do it without expectation. You know, if you love someone, just say, you know what, I love you, man, right? But beautiful reading, easy peasy. It's about time, you know, Virgo, you guys ride this wave. And it's like watching you hit extreme lows, but it brings you up so high. It's just, you know, being able to maintain that, right? But like I said, this to me looks like self-work, you know, and being in a better place about how you feel about what kind of person you are.